Alright, welcome back, team. We have a rather dubious hand. We're on the draw. And in the dark, I'm just going to keep it. Because we're a card advantage deck, mulliganing is just bad all around. Obviously. Oh, not the land I wanted to see. So I think I'm just going to play Foreboding Ruins first. Might regret that decision, but I think because we have these two Grasp of Darknesses as our only early defense, we kind of want to get double black online sooner rather than later, especially if we're against like the 4-color or green-black Rites deck. So it's starting to look bad. Basically what I was saying before, though, was because we're a deck focused on card advantage, mulliganing is like pretty bad. And if we draw a basic swamp or mountain or any of the things that turn on Foreboding Ruins, which we actually have a lot of, these passive darknesses are turned on curve. And all of a sudden we have like a great hand against an aggro deck. And if we're against a control deck, we definitely don't want to mulligan. So this is nice in the sense that it makes this come to play untapped, but still not doing too hot. I think what we want to do is we really want to get this Kalitas in play, but I think killing this Catacomb Sifter is going to be a worthwhile activity. We don't really want to die to his initial curve out, so we're going to have to cast some removal spells in the early part of the game. And we kind of got to do that sooner rather than later, just so we don't get run over. So this is a situation where we're probably going to use Kolaghan's command on that Duskwatch Recruiter. We can never jam our Kalitas, that's like really good. So I think it's better to cast this Evolving Wilds in the Sunken. And I suppose if he's not willing to, like, we should do the Kolaghan's command after he activates Duskwatch Recruiter. And he just didn't activate it end of turn, which is kind of nice. And we could kill it before it flips. To be fair, if you wanted to use it at the end of last turn, he would have had to sacrifice his Eldrazi Scion. I think that probably would have been worth it for him to do. A real card is certainly worth more than his Eldrazi Scion on the board. But I'm not sure the context of his hand, and maybe he has a better line of play that I can't see. So knowing that he has a Reflector Mage is a pretty big deal. That's going to make me a little more wary about casting this Reflector Mage. That makes me sort of wish I'd gotten a Swamp with my Evolving Wilds, so that there's a greater chance I could sequence Kalitas and this Grasp of Darkness. But it should be okay. Wow. That is aggressive. So I think this is when we just jam our Kalitas. Maybe this just means he has another Reflector Mage, but either way, Kalitas is like one of the best things we can do. And since we can't use the mana, I'm going to play the Sunken Hollow and sort of mask that we have untapped mana coming to play next turn. I doubt it'll be relevant, but, you know. Okay, and our opponent does have the second Reflector Mage, which is not particularly unsurprising. So this turn I'll turn is actually a little interesting as to what I want to do. I could hold up Silumgar's command so that I can counter a collected company and like kill a guy, which would be quite good. But as it stands, I'm like taking a lot of damage on the board, which is not particularly exciting. And if he has collected company, he's going to do it at the end of my turn. So I think the best thing for me to do is to just cash in my Dragonlord, even though it's not particularly for great value. Definitely want to get the untapped one. And if my opponent has another Reflector Mage, so be it. You know, next turn, I do have enough black mana to cast Kalitas and Grasp of Darkness. So that'll be pretty good. Now that I have the Dragonlord Silumgar, it's likely that if my opponent does have collected company, he'll main phase it. So this is definitely, the Dust Recruiter is definitely what I want to hit with Grasp of Darkness. Against a deck like this, all I want to do is target the card advantage stuff. So, do I have to worry about getting comboed out here? We would need like 3 pieces, and he'd need to get rid of my Kalitas. So I think I'm safe to just cast the Kalitas here, and you know, Radiant Flames the following turn. Dragonlord Silumgar is gonna get it on with the beatdowns. I have to assume that we're advantaged from here. I don't think these decks usually play any way to kill a Kalitas other than Reflector Mage. And, I mean, we have Radiant Flames and Silumgar's command. So in the current board state, I don't think I'm even going to cast the Radiant Flames. If he plays something that can generate value like Duskwatch Recruiter, then I will. But I almost want to just hold up the Silumgar's command forever, because the collected company is the thing that I'm really afraid of. Like, is my opponent even going to attack here? Alright, well that needs to die. So this is when we're gonna Radiant Flames here. There's no way that I can let that live. No way, no how. And I'm not even going to go through trying to do combat. And now our opponent is Hellbent. And this is like game. This is when our opponent concedes and we start thinking about sideboarding. So the Radiant Flames from the sideboard are going to be basically perfect. This is one of the matchups where Radiant Flames is probably a lot better than Languish. The one thing that I do have to worry about is this deck frequently will bring in Thought-Knot Seers and Reality Smashers, and sometimes Pitiless Horde. So Radiant Flame hits Pitiless Horde, but it does not hit the other 2 cards that I mentioned. So we'll have to take a good solid look at our sideboarding. Figure out exactly what we want to do. And I have to imagine my opponent is wondering if he wants to concede or not. And I guess he's decided that he's not. And our opponent just has nothing. Alright. So, what do we want? So because the removal or the threats are rather diverse, I think we want to get rid of the narrow things that have a chance of underperforming in the matchup. So I think Grasp of Darkness, it hits all the small stuff, and it hits Eldrazi Displacer. Like, Eldrazi Displacer, Thought-Net Seer, and Reality Smasher are probably the three most important things. So I want to be able to kill them as easily as possible. So take out Fire Impulse because it's kind of narrow, and Ultimate Price is pretty narrow also. Grasp of Darkness can hit some of the bigger stuff. Ruinous Path can hit everything. And Radiant Flames, like, I just need something to just mop up all the trash. Ob Nixilis is going to be able to kill Reality Smasher, which is pretty important. Chandra can mop up a lot of trash. So the only cards in my sideboard that I kind of want to make room for are maybe Dark Petition and maybe Dragonlord Silumgar. But I think that I'm going to be fine without them. And I don't really want to make my deck clunkier than it has to be. So I think this is what I run with. The Kolaghan's commands are actually not particularly great. So maybe one Kolaghan's command is enough. Also, a lot of the things that they have, exile. Actually, maybe I want this just because it kills Westvale Abbey. Yeah. Yeah, I guess Kolaghan's commands doesn't actually kill anything that important in this deck. Although it does kill Duskwatch Recruiter, but that's literally it. And Grasp of Darkness hits it. Radiant Flames can mop it up. So, yeah, I think this is what we do. Before I'd been boarding out Read the Bones maybe more frequently than I should have. I think it's like a pretty integral part to making sure that you don't flood out. Like, you have a lot of 2-for-1s like Jace, Kalitas, Goblin Dark-Dwellers, but you still need to, I don't know, you're a pretty card advantage hungry deck. You have so many 1-for-1s. This is a good hand. So this is the kind of hand that I actually like having against a deck like our opponents. A lot of times they're just not actually prepared to face down your threats, and they're mostly just hoping that you don't draw them. So the fact that I'm going to have a curve out of creatures and be able to establish a board and do some blocking and make sweeping the board really threatening, something I like quite a bit. And obviously, turn 2 Jace is just like the nuts. It's just so good. We are going to take a little bit of damage, but we're really not too worried about that. So Radiant Flames is sweet. So I think the land that we don't need here is the Shivan Reef. We already have enough red, and Sunken Hollow gives us like a second blue. So yeah. So we're going to read Bones here. And ooh, this is tough. I think maybe we want the Transgress the Mind. Our opponent did not I was going to say maybe we want Transgress the Mind because it seems like our opponent has all gas and it's probably expensive spells, so that means we're likely to hit. But at the same time, I think the best way to take advantage of this situation is just to keep impacting the board. So I think this is going to work out better. Because we're going to be able to go, Kalitas on our following turn, and then, maybe Radiant Flames, and You know, some serious stuff going on. So this gives our opponent access to a lot more mana. And we know he's been missing land drops and whatnot. So, let's see. We could just sweep his board and cut him off casting something like Thought-Knot Seer or Reality Smasher. We have a backup Jace. Obviously, it'd be like cool to play Kalitas and, you know, and then cast Radiant Flames, but I think that I just want to do the Radiant Flames now. And this Dragonlord Silumgar is like exactly what we need to keep ourselves safe against a Reality Smasher. And this is just like a 2 for 3. I almost did this for the wrong amount. There we go. But while our deck is like firing on all cylinders, you know, we're much happier with the empty board that you know, just has lands. And like I said, we have the backup Jace. And if for some reason our opponent like does nothing, we can just play Goblin Dark-Dwellers and flashback Read the Bones and get even farther ahead on cards, which, you know, looks like is the thing we're gonna do. Let's see, if we play Dark-Dwellers, flashback Read the Bones, and he plays Reflector Mage, we will be at 8. But if we hit another land, then we'll be able to play Kalitas and a removal spell, or Kalitas and Jace. So I think that's fine. So this is great. I think we just keep both those. Plays Reflector Mage and we don't have a 6th land, we might be in trouble, but at least we'll be able to play Ruinous Path and Jace. And then on the following turn we can start like, you know, Ruinous Path, Dark-Dwellers. Oh, so this is Reality Smasher. 100%. Yeah. So this is going to knock us to 6, which is a problem. But at least we can kill it. Ooh, this is going to be good when our opponent's missing land drops. And we can just discard the redundant Read the Bones. Our opponent kept the card on top of his library, so it must be something good. Might just be a land, to be honest. But it could be like a Collected Company or a Reflector Mage. I would love to fire off this Grip of Desolation. Probably what I'd kill is the Yavimaya Coast. So our opponent definitely has Collected Company. So we have a few options here. I think I don't want to flip my Jace yet. I'd rather use it as a blocker. And we could play Kalitas, but I'd rather use our mana a little more efficiently than that. If we hit another land drop, we can play Kalitas and a removal spell on the same turn, which is a lot more impactful. So I think it's time for me to fire off this Grip of Desolation. And just, you know, focus on having the shields up. I also like this play because one of the things I'm most worried about is my opponent just casting Reality Smashers. And this makes it less likely that he's going to be able to do that. Like, he'd have to hit a Catacomb Sifter off of this, or like a Loam Dryad, and then have like a land drop, and have the Reality Smasher in hand. So it just makes it like unlikely. And I have no interest in attacking. None whatsoever. Trying to Stone Rain my opponent and having him just draw 2 cards is certainly less than ideal, but again, I don't have to worry about Reality Smasher this turn, which is nice. Alright, we got our land. So, I mean, honestly, I would like to discard the land, but I think the thing to discard is the Dark-Dwellers, I think. Maybe the Dragonlord Silumgar. Things can get a little weird when you have that card and they're like bouncing it. Although it's the best answer I have to a Reality Smasher. I don't really have any. Well, I guess I have a Ruinous Path to flash back with the Dark-Dwellers. Ooh, this is tough. I'll just discard the Ruinous Path. Maybe that's a mistake, but it's like the thing that by itself is like the least impactful. And I think now we can start. Maybe I'll wait one more turn to start attacking. If I attacked and he like collected companied into a Reflector Mage, I mean, I'd have this Grasp of Darkness, but things could still get a little dicey. Huh. Well, this is good. I think what I want to do here is just attack with the Kalitas. And keep the Dark-Dwellers back. If it does have a Reflector Mage, I'd rather it hit the Dark-Dwellers. And if this connects, then that's really good. So my opponent didn't cast a Collected Company at the end of last turn, and he didn't cast Reality Smasher this turn, so I honestly can't imagine what he has. But, I mean, I can hold this Grasp of Darkness up. Gain 3 life, which is kind of a big deal. May just be that my opponent has, like, blue cards to send or something. Or he had Sylvan Advocates and was waiting until he had enough mana. So I think in this situation, I can grasp the Elvish Visionary, untap, Ruinous Path, the Sylvan Advocate, and then everybody can attack. Yeah. So that's what I'm going to do. And I don't have to worry about negate. Don't think my opponent has. I can actually just steal one. Oh yeah, this is gross. If you've got kids at home, you may want to shield their eyes. This is utter domination at this point. I know I was like almost dead for a while, but Now my opponent's just like super dead. You can't do that. You can block my Kalitas if you'd like. I don't know what my opponent could do, but I have to imagine that this Chandra is going to be better than it. Opponent's got a Reality Smasher. So I think this is just going to be an all-out attack, and my opponent's going to be dead. For 8. All right. Well, that's that. I had a few different paths to victory. I was trying to figure out. I think what I would have done is just Grip of Desolation to his Advocate and Yavimaya Coach just to keep him off blue again. But that probably wouldn't have been necessary. All right, next one.